the night of the 13th, their Santa Claus came to visit boys and girls hidden among the hills of Rathouseville. They had no idea what was going to happen to them or what lies ahead in the night of Santa Claus.
You always fall back into some weird German.
Doesn't it? It sounds Germany to me. Is Germany a word? Germany is a word. I meant German-y.
Germanish.
It has that like,
Sounds
I
German.
want to
Yeah.
make a film that just shows people eating pudding and...
Well, I'll tell my good cousin Tim, who made it for us, that he made a, Du hast type of song or whatever.
I like it.
Yeah.
You know what else I like, Andy? SlashU.
Welcome to
Welcome to SlashU. I am the good elf Nick, and across from me is Santa Claus's right-hand man.
Bad Santa Andy.
Krampus. You're motherfucking Krampus.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Andy, Sir Andy, we're celebrating SlashU-letide.
Yeah, baby.
All over your face. We're excited. We've done some good ones, haven't we? Silent Night was pretty rad.
Oh, yeah, a
It
couple
was just,
years
it's
ago.
what you wanted.
Yeah, that was the OG, right?
No,
That was
I
like
meant,
our first...
I meant Silent Night 2012.
last
week.
week. From last week.
Yeah,
I thought
I'm
you
just
meant
talking-
the Silent Night, Deadly Night. No, sorry.
No,
I'm cloudy,
shit.
man. I'm on a bunch of cold medication.
Well, I will
But
say this. We have decided to do the fourth one, which is next week.
Silent Night, Deadly Night 4. Yeah, this is going to be fun.
Well, before we get into this one,
Yeah.
the holiday cheer among us, I did dive into Good Burger 2, Andy.
You did.
I watched it.
That's awesome.
Stoned as fuck. And I was looking at myself going, why in the hell? It was almost harder to watch stoned. Is that weird?
Like you couldn't follow it? Or?
I just couldn't follow it. Like I started just looking at my ceiling going, and started seeing like, swirls of ketchup and,
Is it any good?
No.
Is it better or worse than the first one?
Well, the first one's way better.
Okay.
But do you remember that My Name is Mud? It's a video that Primus had, and they're wearing these weird costumes. Their faces are all contorted. That's what Ed looks like. Ed, I'm going to try to see if I can do like a side-by-side, because it looked weird.
Oh.
And then Ed has a family, and they all dress like him. Dude's got like 12 kids. Ed's been banging since the last Good Burger.
Nice job,
And his
Ed.
wife is beautiful, but she
course.
wears a little hat
Yeah.
and the striped shirt. But all the kids, even the girls, have Ed's haircut. And in this one, his right-hand man is his oldest son.
Okay.
And he's just as fucking dumb.
Oh.
So that was my Cliff Kill notes for Good Burger 2.
Good Burger 2. All right.
Yeah.
Get on it.
Kill was a dick. He was like an entrepreneur who's stealing everybody's money.
Kel?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So then he came back to Good Burger because he lost everything.
Oh, man.
But then these bad guys wanted to get, the megacorp.
Sauce recipe?
Yeah, no, they wanted to own all the Good Burgers. Just that one. And they were going to franchise them.
Oh.
So megacorp
That's what they're called.
was owned by a lady whose brother was the dude from Mondo Burger, who was like, the guy, like the Chad, I forget his name. But
Yeah, I don't care.
she's like, you stuck my brother in jail.
So it's a revenge story.
Yeah, and they have to plot to take it down. So,
Oh, great.
but
This has been Good Burger You, everybody. Another week.
do you think they could? I know we talked about this before, but what if there was a podcast just dedicated to Good Burger?
It wouldn't have very many episodes.
They could talk about prequels. They could talk
2
about
episodes now.
They could do fan fiction.
I suppose.
Anyway, as we get into this SlashU-letide, Andy and I had the pleasure of diving into a cinematic Christmas classic.
Yeah.
That we were excited about. We are going to spoil everything. We are
Yes.
not. We're kind of cinephiles. We're like the cinephiles you'd find like at a Dollar General. We'd write the book that would on movies that would be featured like at fucking Dollar General or Walmart.
We don't have any degrees in cinephilia.
I will also say that you
Film.
can find us on /U_podcast on Instagram,
Yes.
/UPodcast.com on the
Yes.
World Wide Web, and if you want to email us, /UPodcast@gmail.com. Andy,
All of those things are true.
71 minutes that gave me an STD,
Yeah, right?
made in 2009. We have,
Bikini Bloodbath Christmas.
say it again just so our students can understand this.
Bikini Bloodbath Christmas.
I can't believe they made this. Like, money was spent on this movie.
It's unfortunate.
It was produced
I
by.
don't think it was a lot of money.
It was produced by both the Church of Joel Osteen and Gloria Steinem.
Here's what I don't get. I know that's not true, but here's what I understand. This is true. This is directed by 2 people. A 72-minute move. Jonathan Gorman and Thomas Edward Seymour directed this movie. Why do you need 2 directors for this piece of shit?
And not only that, this is a third in the trilogy.
Yeah. I'll mention that in the Cliff Kill, but this is... I just didn't like it. I don't know. Maybe I was spoiled by Last Christmas. We did some good ones last year.
Oh, was it like Secret Santa?
Yes.
And then Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 wasn't even that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
I mean, I got through it, but this one is very similar to the original Good Burger because it's like 2, sanctions of groups of people.
Oh, the rivalry part.
Yeah, the rivalry part. So it's like, Good Burger against Mondo Burger. Yep. Well, it's like, the bong shop, I guess, versus the deli.
Yep.
And there's that, interjuxtaposition of a dialogue that's never set through the through the festive days of Christmas.
True, and we have just, women with big boobs.
Yeah, it's totally full of boobs. I mean, it is seriously, this movie is like a goth kid wanted to make a movie and his uncle happened to be Harvey Weinstein.
There you go.
That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But think about it, Andy. Like, I really think that, I mean, I guess a buck's a buck, but, I tried to hit some of the girls up. I found them on Instagram and say, hey, we're reviewing your movie, but I didn't hear anything back.
Oh, really?
Shocker. Sharon, the girl who plays Sharon, is like trying to become an acclaimed singer. And I don't think she'd want this coming back.
No, I don't think so.
But I mean, everything's Googleable.
Googleable. That's true.
Googleable. So,
this was.
I'm really
okay though.
I'm really excited about this.
We have thoughts.
Yes, and I'm really excited about this season's Tis the Season's Cliff Kill Notes. Because I mean, it's going to be like...
Let's try to make this podcast not as long as the movie. Or long, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, but also we like to talk. How was your day today?
We do. That's true. My day was all right. I've been coughing and sniffling ever since I got back from Boston. I was on a short trip to Boston.
Yeah, you went to Salem. We posted a picture.
We were... the last week's episode, Silent Night, 2012, came out on the day I was flying back into town.
Did you get to listen to it?
I did. I listened to it on the plane.
Oh, that's cool. You should have said, hey, ask the flight person to say, like, hey,
put
could you make
this on the PA, please? Yeah, this is my podcast. Can you play this for everyone on the plane?
I'm sure.
Right after the seatbelt announcement shit.
I'm sure the lady over there wearing the sweater that says, I love my grandchildren will want to hear this.
And that guy over there with the cross around his neck, he's going to love listening to it. No, right. it was a good trip to Boston. I had a great time.
I'm so sorry I didn't bring that up.
So much fun. We went and we did a North End food tour, and the tour guide's name was Bobby Agrippino. He was an Italian. Bobby Agrippino doesn't wait in any lines. He had a great time. He showed us some great food in and around the North End of Boston.
And he was like, come and try. Did you have any of the pizza?
No, he had a huge, thick Boston accent.
Well, that's the selling point because all you motherfuckers are tourists.
It was great.
So, I mean,
but the food was amazing.
I'm sure, if you were like, okay, Bobby, we're done. He's like, oh, thank God I'm done with this tour now. I'm good to go ahead and back to my loft.
He gets rid of his accent, yeah.
Yeah, because he's just
Bobby Agrippino. Shout out to North End Boston Food Tours.
All right, well, that's great. Maybe they could sponsor our podcast over here.
They won't.
Hey, so let's get into the Cliff Kill Notes. I think they should be Cliff. Jingle your bells because it's time for Andy's Cliff Kill Notes. Brought to you by Washcloths. If you want to clean yourself or clean up whatever is covered in semen, why don't you grab a washcloth?
Hey.
And now, Andy's fa la 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 Cliff Kill little notes.
Thank you, washcloths. Gotta wipe up that semen. All right, so like we said, I guess this is the third movie in the Bikini Bloodbath series. For the bulk of the series, hot girl Jenny and her friends have been stalked, and some of them have been murdered by a killer chef from a French restaurant, I guess. In this movie, we didn't watch the first two, but in this movie,
we did not. That's a good point.
Bikini Bloodbath and Bikini Bloodbath Car Wash, and now we have Bikini Bloodbath Christmas. And so in this movie, it's just the same thing, but it's Christmas time. The bikini girls that haven't been killed in the first two movies work at a bong shop. They sell bongs and other smoking accessories.
And a lot of other things.
A smoke shop. Right across this little courtyard from a deli called Underground Deli, run by some quote-unquote Christians. There's a rivalry between the bong shop and the deli, and basically the French chef who everyone thought was dead seems to be back, dressed as Santa, and is out for more blood.
That was
that is it.
That was great.
Well crafted.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you right now, this one, I loved it.
You did?
Yes, I'm a big fan. I think there was a lot of miscues from, let's say, any kind of cinematic representation. Anybody that calls themselves, true cinephilias. I believe that they missed out the point that really what it comes down to is that. Take, for instance, what's happening across this world right now where people aren't getting along.
Yeah,
this movie can
I hadn't noticed.
This people can show that there is a way we could work down a path towards a better agreement. This movie, hashtag ceasefire, it could work.
Ooh, yeah.
I think this movie could actually work.
I watched it before you, and I remember telling you, like, I hated it, it's dumb. But I didn't want to steer your opinion. Obviously, I didn't.
Well, no. I like how we have our back and forth. But I will say this. Let's just get into the opening. I love the opening for real. The credits.
Yeah.
It was just like a chef, but you just see the hands,
Cutting up raw meat.
Coming up raw meat. And then when he packaged it, you would see that he would slap the tape on there.
Yeah.
And there would be the names of the actors, the producers.
That was creative. You're right.
Yeah.
Wrapping up the meat in butcher paper. And, he'd
It's
slap
a great start.
sticker on there with
it just goes
the
uphill
name.
from there.
It just goes uphill. And, I don't know. At the end of that little sequence, there's like a brief group of girls running away from a chef with a giant axe or something, and then Jenny and Sharon wake up from a dream. They were dreaming all that. They sit up, and Jenny had a nightmare about the chef chasing them all.
And then who will meet Mrs. Johnson, who is a big man, like a William Sasso, like Will Sasso guy, like dressed as a woman, an English woman.
Yeah.
He's having a dream as well. They are having a dream as well. Are they dreaming of a horse cock?
No, I thought it was I just saw a horse-drawn buggy, a horse just eating food.
Yeah.
And then wakes up. Oh my!
Yeah, and then the leader of the deli, who goes by the name Gina Davis. He's dreaming about giving Jesus giving him a blowjob.
He's dreaming. Yeah, the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ with his crown of thorns on.
Yes,
blowing this guy in his dream, and he wakes up and he just does the cross. Oh my!
I mean, I know it's
weird.
like I'm not trying to be because I'm not really religious at all, actually. But I mean,
it is a little.
They get fucking crazy
pushing.
in here. Like, they have some dialogue that really make me uncomfortable, especially once we get to the fake hospital. But this is, again, we're setting up the the Good Burger Mondo Burger thing, where it's the deli and the bong shop. And Andy, it's like a caffeinated Spencer's gift. I mean,
it's called the Snot Locker.
Yeah, and it's got like bongs, of course, and it's got videos.
Yep.
And, like, it's like a blockbuster bong shop.
Right.
So it's the season for pleasing.
Oh, the music. Yeah, you sent me a link to that, didn't you?
Yeah, maybe we can get in that later, because it's just one band called White Liger.
White Liger.
And
it's a lion and a tiger.
It's seriously like
bred for its skills and magic.
It's like a fucking Dollar General Steel Panther band. You know Steel Panther, the fucking rad band?
Yeah, I do know.
It's really, they're just fucking horrible. And they just kind of play the song. They have a song about cocaine in here, like "Let it snow, dude, let it snow." Yeah. Cocaine all over your titties. Anyway, the girls get ready to work at the bong shop. Andy, I just kind of wrote they're getting in boobs, and we meet.
They're getting changed for the day. Yeah, so we see some boobs.
We see some boobs, and then the girls at the deli are a little bit crustier.
Yeah,
they're kind of more like, like they're
not as attractive.
Yeah, and not as happy, I should say.
And they're showing up. It's called the Underground Deli.
There you go.
Underground meaning
like the
subway.
Yes, the down and out there in London, I should say.
Yes, the English subway system.
And Jenny and William Dafoe, Jenny of the bong shop and William Dafoe of the deli are kind of like the respected leaders of the two girl gangs.
Right.
Because don't you think they're two girl gangs? They are.
Yeah, I agree.
William Dafoe and Jenny.
Did you notice in the opening credits we have directed by
who
the fuck cares?
Yeah, who the fuck cares, yeah.
Okay.
Really original.
Super
I really
original.
like this when we get back to the opening, the credits are rolling, we meet Dungaree. She's a wrestler with big boobies.
Oh, that was her. Okay.
Dungaree.
Yeah.
One of our first kills, but also probably most boobs.
Talk about Mondo. Hey-o. Yeah.
Talk about...
Cold doesn't stop my voice, does it?
Talk about Mondo burgers.
Talk about Mondo burgers.
Oh, that was good.
But Mrs. Johnson lines them all up.
Yes, there you go. Talks to his girls.
Again, Mrs. Johnson is very clearly a man dressed as a woman in this movie. We don't know the backstory there. Is it really a man identifying as a woman, or we don't know. I don't know if it's a gag.
Yeah,
if it's
they try to have an English accent.
Yeah. So Mrs. Johnson's like, okay, girls, line up here. Like Mrs. Doubtfire. Like,
There you go. That's probably what the fucking inspiration came from.
Probably, dude. Yeah. Robin Williams doing Mrs. Doubtfire.
That's good, man.
Lines them all up. Tell them that they got to be on point because Christmas is responsible for 18% of their revenue.
Really immature writing. Seriously, like a 13-year-old, like, let's get this Tijuana Donkey Show on the road.
Right.
Yeah.
The running joke for this whole movie is that Sharon is fat.
Yes.
But she's not.
Not at all.
Sharon's actually very attractive. Mrs. Johnson calls her fat. You know, Jenny, her hot friend, calls her fat. Like, that's the running joke. It's just, Sharon, you're fat. And also, Mrs. Johnson accuses Sapphire, another one of the girls, of having a huge bush.
Yeah.
Trim that bush.
It's seriously just kind of like writing where it's seriously like if your brother in 5th grade was like, hey, I wrote a screenplay.
Yeah.
But then
Super immature.
The girls are Jenny, the leader,
Yeah.
Sharon, who's supposedly the fat one, but is not, Dungaree with the Mondo burgers, and then Sapphire, the cute little pixie girl.
Who's kind of dumb.
Yeah, she twirls her hair, just looks
And
all
just
around.
Agrees with everything.
Yes, I agree.
I agree.
I like Sapphire the most.
Yeah.
The deli is run by Gina Davis, who is a weird fuck. Isn't
Gina
it funny
Davis.
that Gina Davis and William Dafoe, like,
Gina Davis is a guy
who's
just pretends to be super Christian, our Lord and Savior.
and he wears all black sunglasses,
big old cross around his neck, and those heathen whores over at the bong shop are putting on their Santa display, and we need to counter with our own Santa display. He's standing in front of an American flag, lecturing his crew of women, one of which is a woman named Willem Dafoe.
She's the leader of their
And
gang.
she's like the leader of that crew.
They both have. We didn't mention that this whole rivalry that's going on is a Santa station.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at this deli, their Santa is a pedophile. Which
Frank,
is awesome.
no pedophilia this year.
Yeah, like
This
don't touch
year.
any boys. It's like, okay,
Right.
that's rad. And then over at the bong shop, we got Ramirez, but not really important. Just 2 Santas that are going to be there. But
Both stores go to set up their Santa displays. Jazzy Jingle Bells music plays.
they
I don't
call
know.
me Rudolph the Red-Nosed Freak.
Yeah, Gina Davis from the deli and Mrs. Johnson from the bong shop argue about the Christmas tree that's in the quote neutral zone, the middle of the courtyard. Because I think Gina Davis wanted to hang like an angel, and she's like, "Get that shit, Mrs. Johnson's.
Yeah.
Get that shit out of here. You need to run that past me first. This is the neutral zone." And Gina Davis is like, "But our Lord and Savior Jesus should always go on the tree." And Mrs. Johnson's like, "You Jesus fucker, get out of here."
Again, your
Pretty
5th grade
wild.
brother wrote a screenplay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like South Park, but less mature, even more immature.
The writing of South Park, I think, is premier.
You guys.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't find it here. Finally, after all is said and done, the deli girls come up to meet our good girls, and they challenge them to meet at the cemetery because Chef Death from our previous 2 movies, Andy, is buried there.
Yeah.
A.K.A. the Meat Reaper, McQueen. A.K.A. Sausage Party Slasher.
Yeah.
That's a good name for a movie.
That is good. The Sausage Party Slasher.
It would just be like a bunch of dudes hanging out, and one of the dudes start killing everybody.
I thought it was funny, too, at the end of the workday, Mrs. Johnson says goodnight to all the girls and calls Sharon a manatee. Sharon, you manatee. Why don't you come here early tomorrow morning? Wanted to, give her, I don't know, baggier clothes or something.
Yeah,
Show
and
up
then
early
she
tomorrow
was like,
morning.
You should go have an abortion. And she's like, I'm not pregnant.
Yeah.
Whatever sailor
There
put
are
cheese whiz in you. Like,
a lot of quick quips and digs in this movie, and I said it's mostly about gross out humor or rape.
yeah, I mean, it's not. It's really,
Some of it you're like, holy shit.
But I don't think the writers gave a shit. I think
No,
they
they
would,
didn't care.
they would be like, this is artistic noir. We
Yeah.
showed this at a coffee shop in Denmark, and it fucking blew up. We're big there.
Everyone loved it. Yeah. So
But it's just kind of like they want to meet it. They want to meet at the cemetery. There's just some back and forth, calling each other butthole.
oh yeah, Willem Dafoe. You're all buttholes. Yeah, William Dafoe has a French accent. You're all buttholes.
Yeah, it's quite a movie, and I'm sure we got all of you listening right now and just so intrigued,
You're
don't
not
we?
lost at all, are you?
Back at this,
Excuse me.
we get to a hospital, and this is where the English lady, the man dressed as a woman,
Mrs. Johnson.
Mrs. Johnson,
her
and
sister.
Jenny visit Mrs. Johnson's sister, who is also
Ms. Johnson.
Ms. Johnson.
Yeah, he's credited as Miss Johnson.
Yeah, but
so you have Mrs. Johnson and Miss Johnson.
It's the bong shop. I mean, it's really
Right.
her. The big Miss Johnson is just kind of running it for a while because her sister's in a coma.
In a coma, which I guess is from the last movie.
Yes.
I guess Miss Johnson took on the killer chef, I suppose, and we're going to hit it in a flashback later, but like stabbed the killer chef, and he at the same time kind of partially disemboweled her, and she wound up in a coma.
Yeah.
So they're at the hospital visiting her.
And this-
Mrs. Johnson and Jenny.
Yeah, and then the doctor makes his way, repeated edits. That's like of like 10 minutes of him walking down a hallway that looks like it's any office.
Dr. O'Master Blaster.
Yeah, he's very famous within the trauma films. The Toxic
okay.
Avengers.
Yeah, his I forget his name, but
He's
I'm
really.
not gonna look it up.
I mean, if you know trauma, you know he's all over the place, and he's just here to kind of check on Mrs. Johnson's sister, Miss Johnson.
Right.
And as he checks her pulse, by grabbing her boobs, and to make sure that it's kind of a similar pose, he decides to grab Jenny's boobs and
then
Mrs.
Johnson's boobs. Yeah.
Really good stuff here. Really
super
fascinating
powerful.
stuff. And this is kind of where we find out that Jenny is close to the Johnsons. They're family to her.
Right.
And this kind of, I guess, setting up the story.
Yeah, the doctor's stupid joke where he takes his temperature by licking his finger and sticking it in her ear.
Yeah. Then he's like,
98.2.
And then he gets a call that he has to go.
He's like, I gotta go rape a pregnant woman. What the fuck?
I know. Like,
why?
I'm all for rioting, I guess. But I mean,
Yeah.
if something like, there's no.
He says like, I gotta leave. I gotta go rape a pregnant woman.
Yeah. I mean,
What? Why?
It just doesn't. To me, are they trying to cross a boundary? Are they trying to do? I mean, we've seen a lot of movies, Andy.
Right, and this was one thing that made me angry. I was like, what is the point of that dialogue? What is the point of that line? Are you just trying to...
I mean, it's just
trying to be
it's
stupid
shock
for
value.
for shock value's sake.
Like them putting directed by who the fuck cares. Like, yeah, we're fucking original.
We're so above everybody.
Doing lines with some of the guys from White Liger. Can our band be in your fucking movie? Fuck yeah, man.
I did think that the exchange between Jenny and the doctor was kind of funny about Ms. Johnson being the closest thing she has to family. And she said, well, there's Sharon, but she has a weight problem, and that keeps me from thinking of her as a person. And the doctor says, yes, it's true. Fat people are disgusting. I thought that was kind of hilarious.
Did you say fat people or ugly people?
He said fat people.
Oh, yeah. That's
Because she said, she has a weight problem that keeps me from thinking of her as a person.
Yeah, it's I really kind of just the coma Miss Johnson wakes up, kind of whispers something in the air.
Well, because Jenny says the deli girls want to meet us at the chef's grave, and that's when Ms. Johnson stirs.
Yeah, it says something.
Pulls her close, and I don't know what she says.
I didn't either. I was
turned on the
watching closed
subtitles.
captions. Yeah, it just says mumbling.
It just says mumbling.
But this is Andy, where we get the backstory. Again, this is the third in a trilogy,
Right.
And it's kind of cool. They kind of tell it through an old Super 8 film style.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's no voiceover. Is there supposed to be voiceover here?
I think
it's
isn't it-
later, and Jenny and Sharon are walking, and Sapphire's with them, and Sapphire asks about the chef, and then we get a flashback of a summary, I guess, of the first two movies. Lots of boobs. Lots of boobs. But I didn't know if there's supposed to be VO there explaining, like, it was 20 years ago, I was in high school,
No,
this is what happened.
there's no budget in this. I mean, seriously, the budget was like, I think,
Yeah.
a couple of fucking bucks you get from
Cans of cases of PBR.
It was seriously like, hey, you remember those camel cats? They cashed in their camel bucks.
Right.
But it's
In any case.
we get the slumber party, we get the car wash, more boobs.
Right.
The Ouija board calls the chef out, and so the chef comes back. So at the grave, the deli girls dare Jenny to touch the grave.
Right.
And this is how Chef Death is woken up in Bikini Bloodbath 3.
Jenny touches the grave and she immediately starts bleeding from her vagina.
Yes.
Sapphire's like, ew, your vag is bleeding. Okay. And then she gets a quick flash in her mind of the dead chef. And suddenly, like I called it, zombie chef jumps up out of the grave and grabs one of the deli crew girls and drags her down. I don't know which deli crew girl it was.
I don't
do you have
either.
a name for
I mean,
her?
I just kind of just kills her.
Yeah, kills her. The rest of them scream and run away.
So we get to our next day.
And the next day, they're all at work and no one gives a shit about the zombie chef that they all saw last night.
No one cares. They're back at work. You know, the deli girls just had one of their homies die.
Yeah,
But
nobody cares.
Everybody's at the cool. But this is where Miss Johnson, the owner or the sister's owner, invites everyone to the big holiday party. She's even invited the deli crew, Andy, and I'm guessing that this holiday party she's having at her and her sister's house. She's staying at it, yes. So
yeah, Mrs. Johnson is watching both the business and the house of her sister, Ms. Johnson, in the coma. Correct.
And then we're lucky because Gina Davis, the owner of the deli, brings over some sandwiches for the whole gang.
Yeah, they're shit sandwiches, Nick.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Johnson says you took the time to shit and make sandwiches out of it. Gina Davis just says, like, well, over a matter of a week. Yeah, you know, like it took a while. Sharon goes to grab one. Mrs. Johnson's you're like, you are so fat and stupid that you're going to eat shit. And Sharon's like, they're free sandwiches. And she eats one anyway, which is disgusting.
Yeah, Sharon eats the shit sandwich.
Yeah. And the girls go set up their friend Ramirez as Santa for the day.
Santa station is setting up for the day.
He's going to be outside the bong shop, letting people sit on his lap.
And this is where we meet a Cyclops and a mullet guy.
I don't know what
And they're selling a magical blade. They're from a planet. This magical blade is called the Glaive. Real quick, it just makes Dungaree kind of sick. So she has to go to the
pukes.
bathroom to kind of clean up. And this is just the first kill of the movie. The zombie chef bites into her neck as blood splatters the bathroom.
Yeah, so Dungaree, unfortunately,
Yes.
and her
Mondo Burgers.
Mondo Burger Bubies is dead. So the mullet guy and the Cyclops dude are angry that they can't seem to sell any glaives to anybody. They're like glaive salesmen, I guess. Glaive is like a funky looking ninja star, more or less.
But
like
they're
a
also
blade.
from the planet Kroll or something. They mentioned
Oh,
that.
you read this?
Yes, I saw
didn't.
it.
Yeah, I didn't know what their point was at all in this movie.
I don't either.
I don't know what their purpose was. I don't know why the one guy's a Cyclops. It's because he's from a different planet. I don't get it.
What if something like in about 500 years from now, someone's going to find this podcast and go, what the fuck are they talking about?
I think 500 years from now, people will be like, what's a podcast? But, maybe.
Is that true? I know what what is that thing? The phonograph?
Phonograph?
Well,
That's not 500 years ago, man.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's just,
Two rocks clanking.
I don't know why these guys existed in the movie. So, anyway.
I wrote two sentences that are 4 words apiece. Suddenly, both Santas decide the rest of the pedophile Santa and Ramirez is Santa, and Ramirez wins. The other Santa goes to the same bathroom, I guess, where Dungaree was, and he gets strangled with Christmas
He gets
lights.
choked and strangled by Christmas lights and
It
killed.
was an absolutely just stupid scene that was 10 minutes long of those wrestling.
Yeah.
And again, this movie's
then
71 minutes.
Later in the hospital, Dr. O'Master Blaster is typing on his computer. Someone splashes a whole bunch of shit on him, or just splashes liquid on him, and he just goes, that smells like gasoline. And then we see a lighter flying at him, and then an exterior shot of the building as his office explodes.
And you see a little
his fake
figure of
body flies out.
It's like a cardboard cutout of this.
Yeah. Whoa! So Dr. O'Master Blaster's dead. Okay. And that's that. So, that night, it's the Christmas party.
Yeah, it's the girls bringing some invisible Christmas muffins.
I don't get that either. Sharon and Jenny walk in, and we brought muffins, and just hold out her empty
Christmas
hands.
muffins, and they're
Christmas
empty hands.
muffins.
I don't get why Mrs. Johnson is soaking her feet in a kiddie pool of eggnog.
I don't know, but Mrs. Johnson does say, I want your Christmas muffin in my face.
Yes, there's
Which is
little
kinda
innuendos that
catchy.
she what's your Christmas muffin?
That's a fun pun. But yeah, soaking her feet in eggnog in a kiddie pool. It's self-serve. She scoops the
people
the
are
cup
scooping out of it.
in the kiddie pool full
That'd
of
be kind of a fun. That's what I'm going to go as for next Halloween. I'm gonna
Mrs. Johnson.
Yeah, I'm going to try to grab a little bucket of eggnog, and I'm just when I sit down.
Soak your feet in there.
Yeah, and be like, guess what movie I'm from, guys?
Nobody will know.
Wouldn't it be rad
Bikini
if somebody
Bloodbath
was like-
Christmas.
Yeah, I remember that.
They called it the butt fucking nog,
Yes.
not just eggnog, guys. The butt fucking nog.
Butt fucking nog. We have to mention that other Santa Ramirez they kept to has.
Yeah.
I guess he's getting I guess he's about to get ready to go to the party. He's putting on a Santa outfit, but cut to Chef Death.
Zombie Chef.
Zombie Chef
Takes a hammer and beats him to death.
beats him to death. So there's another one.
And then the Chef Death puts on the Santa costume.
Yes. A good call.
Yeah. So from here on.
I watched this 4 times and I never
Yeah.
got that.
You watched it 4 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
The party
Wow.
The party montage begins at Mrs.
Yay.
Johnson's house, and it's, some rad.
She shoots
music.
an arrow into a bonfire. Welcome
Yeah.
to my party.
Yeah, and White Liger just kicks it
Yeah.
out. I wish we could put some on it now. That'd be fucking rad. But I mean, I don't think they would sue us.
I thought that was a badass way to start a party, though. If I
Yeah.
could, every time I have a party, I want to shoot an arrow into my fire pit and start the
Dude,
fire.
that's how I want to go.
Let's go.
You shoot a flaming arrow like a Viking funeral. Would you have the
Your
honors?
corpse is floating away,
Yeah,
and I
would you-
gotta. I don't know, man. I'm not great with bow and arrow.
I'll start I'll just have them push me off 2 feet in front of you.
Well, tell me when you're just a few weeks away from death, and
Okay.
I'll start practicing.
All right. Setting my funeral goals. I'm gonna make sure that gets in the will. Yeah, it's just it's Sexy Civil War plays. That's the name of the song. As the montage continues of the girls just getting wasted. Finally, Andy, the deli girls are arriving, and they're here to have some butt fucking nog and to
Right.
get laid. And this is back and forth where they keep saying "me too," and I thought that was kind of ironic.
I want to get laid. The Me Too.
They kept saying "me too."
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me
and
too.
so I was like,
all
hey,
of this is well before actual Me Too.
Yeah, that's.
But
I thought that was kind of. I just kind of started laughing.
that
to
is
myself.
ironic and hilarious.
And it is seriously if Gloria Steinem saw this movie. I mean, I think of a lot. I mean, this is.
Well, this movie is like if a goth kid wanted to make a movie and his uncle is Harvey Weinstein.
And his uncle Harvey Weinstein said, here's $20, kid.
Yeah, which was the spark of the Me Too movement.
Okay,
So-
the party can begin, Andy. All the players are here.
Yay.
They bring a Christmas sausage that Miss Johnson deserves to suck it off and
Mrs.
eat
Johnson sensually eats the Christmas sausage.
it. Sucking it off.
They talk about how they want to jam on that butt fucking Christmas nog. There is a quick establishing shot of Santa Chef approaching the house. I called him Santa Chef from here on out.
Santa Chef.
Willem Dafoe brags.
Santa Chef. That sounds like a night. That doesn't sound like evil.
Santa Chef.
Yeah, it sounds
Evil-
like that sounds
evil
like a
Santa
fun.
Chef.
Sounds like a fun show that you would watch like on the Cooking Net or Food Network. Like
A guy
during the
dressed as
holidays.
Santa.
Hi, I'm the Santa Chef.
Hey, everybody.
And I'm gonna make a Christmas
I'm gonna make
cookies.
some chestnuts roasting on the fire.
All right, but evil Santa Chef.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. He has made it to the fun party, and William Dafoe and Jenny, the 2 leaders of the rival gangs, are starting to flirt. Andy.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe's bragging about lifting weights and invites Jenny. Would you like to get into the hot tub with me?
Yes.
That's how she talks.
That's a really good invitation.
Would you like to get into the hot tub with me?
And
I am
this-
from France.
Yeah, they go to the hot tub, and meanwhile, the other girls play strip poker. Names don't matter. It's
Nope.
5-card draw. Deuces
But Sharon's one of them.
wild. Yeah, and they
I can hear Olive howling upstairs.
up on the rooftop. Click.
Somebody
click,
must be
click.
walking past your house.
We have enough time.
Yeah, it's cool.
But I mean, it really is a great setup for the girls playing strip poker. We just
Right.
see some, they drink, they take off clothes, some boobs, some panties. The
Right.
game ends, Andy, did you get this? The game ends with 2 girls getting angry at each other. Crab cakes.
And other girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. She was like, I bet you wouldn't kick a nun in the nuts.
Yeah, she's like,
I bet I would. I bet you wouldn't like bite a nun nuts.
Yeah.
A nun's nuts.
Bet I
Bet I
would.
would. And then she says, I bet you can't go in the bedroom and play doctor with me.
Bet I can.
I bet I can.
So that's
Hilarious.
that was actually written.
How come I didn't think of that as a pickup line back in the day when I was a single swinging bachelor? You know? I bet you can't, you just come up with something silly. I bet you can't, throw this ball across the street. I don't know, something dumb. I bet you can't, punch that wall over there. I bet you can't come back to my place and have some drinks. I mean,
I bet you can't come back to my place and measure my testicles.
Yeah. Measure my testicles.
I think that is probably a wasted pickup line. That was well
So
said.
crab cakes and the other girl leave the living room, leaving Sharon and Sapphire alone.
Yes.
Just sitting there.
And they hear screams, and Sharon and Sapphire do nothing. Sapphire just gets up and leaves Sharon by herself. But those screams, Andy, the screams came from the doctor girls.
The girl's going to play doctor, yeah.
Yeah, they are dead.
They
covered-
got killed.
Covered up in a bed. Sapphire sits down with Miss Johnson, and Gina Davis comes up and
I don't know.
they kind of just argue about the state. I mean, these are the two bosses of the rival
Yeah, Gina
shops.
Davis and Mrs. Johnson.
So they just argue over. So Gina Davis gets up and goes to the hot tub, and this is where we get to see
Man butt.
male butt, and male penis.
Yeah,
little-
Gina Davis takes off his clothes.
Little button wearing a sweater. We
He
see.
turns slightly because it's a solid 4 inches or whatever.
What?
And gets naked and gets in the hot tub.
That's 4 inches, and I'm like 12.
He gets in the hot tub with Willem Dafoe and Jenny, and
Nothing important. That's
nothing important right now. We go back to Mrs. Johnson
go.
and Sapphire in the kitchen. It's a drawn
Remember
out,
Sapphire? Yes, Sapphire.
long drawn out silence.
It's seriously them just sitting there.
They're
doing
bored.
nothing.
They're not
Bored.
talking to each other, but piano music's playing. Sapphire's looking, up into space with her twirling her hair. Mrs. Johnson's just got her drink, sitting and staring. It's seriously like 90 seconds of nothing, and then Mrs. Johnson suddenly just splashes her drink into Sapphire's face and says, "Oh dear, oh oopsie poo, oh my, oh my."
Yeah, and this is Sapphire again, our not so bright one.
Yeah,
Has to go take a shower.
I gotta
and
go
change
take
her
a
shirt.
shower.
But then she decides to go take a poop.
she
and
doesn't take a shower.
Yeah,
She just changes
changes her
shirts.
shirt, but she does take a poop,
She sits down to take a poop.
and we see the poop,
She farts and pushes out a turd.
and they show the turd. All the turd.
Well,
they
it's
put
like a
corn-
candy bar. But
Well, I mean, still, it's supposed to be reminiscent of Sapphire's
Baby
turd.
Ruth. And Santa Chef comes in and stabs her.
Evil Santa Chef comes in. Hi, I'm the Santa Chef. Would you like some of my cookies? So Sapphire's now dead. Sharon does a weird scene with a mustache.
Sharon talks to herself.
It's
She has a
just
mustache drawn on one half of her face, so she's like,
turning.
she would turn. Yeah, it's like, she's like, oh, I don't know if I like you or whatever. And Sharon, you are so beautiful and not fat like everyone says you are. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I am. She's talking to herself. She even calls herself fat. That's how destructive it is to call people fat. You give them a complex. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, I dig it. But this is just we get more of the story about how her sister, Ms. Johnson, made it
yeah.
to the.
I wish she would come out of the coma. I'm tired of taking care of the house and the business. And then Sharon tries to say something, and she's, Sharon, stop talking. You shouldn't talk so much. It makes you look fat.
I mean, just poor Sharon.
Poor Sharon. So, I don't know. Mrs. Johnson drunkenly talks about how that chef put her in a coma. We flash back to actually the prior movie where
Yeah.
Ms. Johnson stabbed the chef, but he pulls out some of her intestines, incapacitating her. So, back in the hot tub.
Back in the hot tub, Gina Davis, Ginny, and William Dafoe. Gina Davis has been shitting and pissing in the hot tub.
That's
and
gross.
He picks up some poo again.
I've been shitting too.
Yeah, the fifth grader was in the treehouse. All of a sudden, a sixth grade buddy came up and joined him, and this is what we're getting. So,
Yeah.
Evil Santa turns up the heat in the hot tub, making Gina Davis get out.
Yeah.
So again, it's just Jenny and William Dafoe. They talk to Mrs. J. Who's
Come
still
back
sitting
inside. Yeah.
like-
Mrs. Johnson's like,
We gotta get excited. I feel like
take your
people are
tops
losing
off.
people. Hey, so
oh, it's funny how then at that scene, Jenny and Willem Dafoe come back inside. Mrs. Johnson's drunk, tells him, why don't you girls take your tops off? And then goes, oh, I'm done. Knocks on the table, and Sharon comes up from under the table,
yeah, she was
was performing fellatio on Mrs. Johnson. Hell yeah.
on Mr. Johnson, more like it.
Mrs.
No, I mean
Johnson,
like that,
Mrs.
like, it's
Johnson's
being-
Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
meant.
Mrs.
Sorry.
Johnson's
Like,
Johnson. Very meta. And Jenny says, come on, Willem Dafoe, let's go to the living room. And that's that. Later, the glaive salesmen show up, the Cyclops and the mullet guy, trying to sell security systems. The glaive, best security system you could own. Mrs. Johnson is just like, I already told you at the store today. We're not interested. Great.
God, it's so hard to make this
And
movie
for some
exciting.
reason, all of a sudden, there's just a lot of quick cuts to nothing. Like, suddenly Mrs. Johnson and Gina Davis are squaring off in the living room, talking about how, let's
William
fight.
Yes.
We're going to fight in a pool of eggnog,
Yes.
and winner gets control of the courtyard.
And then Jenny and William Dafoe decide to get their freak on, the two leaders of the girl gangs. They go
Jenny
upstairs.
says, William Dafoe, I want to show you something, and it rhymes with my tits. That's kind of funny.
spy mitts. So like if you're spying on someone, it's really cold.
I get it. My tits, spy tits. Spy mitts.
Spy mitts.
Got it. So they go off into the bedroom.
They don't notice the bodies that are in there.
They're in the bed.
Do you remember the two girls that went to
Yep.
play doctor?
Yep.
Those same girls on the bed. And William Dafoe. It takes Sharon to kind of remind William Dafoe and Jenny that they're actually in a bed with 2 dead people.
Sharon comes in.
It was
and
a
just,
crazy scene.
Yeah, she's like, "Why are there 4 pairs of feet?" You know, and yeah, Jenny's like, there's 2 of us and we each have 2 feet. There's 4 feet. No, there's 4 pairs. 6 times 2, 4 times 2 is 6. I don't know. They discover the 2 dead girls.
And this is when they know the killer's among them.
Yep. Oh no!
So they run downstairs. Mrs. J calls the cops. The cop answers. It's not important.
Nope. Detective Joe DePoro says, "This is a case that'll make me a captain.
Yeah,
I'll be there in an hour."
It doesn't make any sense at all. Gina Davis, our Christian leader, has to take a poop.
All of a sudden.
Yeah, he can't
Probably
use
because of that hot tub.
Yeah. The hot tub made him have to poop.
I think so.
That's smart.
Yeah, like diarrhea poop.
After watching it 8 times, I did not
8
notice.
times. So he goes upstairs and discovers Sapphire dead on the toilet.
Doesn't bother him. He's just like, fuck, I guess I can't take a poop here. So
I
then
gotta
he goes,
find another toilet.
and this toilet is clogged, so he has to. He can't shit, so there's a window right there. So what he does is he gets up, sticks his ass out the window, and they do a close-up. Like, well, it's not his real butt.
It's not really his butt, right?
But it's like a paper mache and a tube of like goo behind it, so it looks like it's diarrhea.
It looks like a close-up of an ass, a big, hairy, white man's ass.
White man's ass with poo, like.
And then poo starts squirting out.
Yeah, like chocolate
Very
syrup coming
graphic. My opinion, unnecessary. I mean, I like poop jokes just as much as the next guy. This was too far.
And as he drains out his poo, Andy, evil Santa chef comes up behind him with a hammer. And he takes the sharp edge side of the hammer and takes it to Gina Davis's anus.
Yep.
And disemboweling him. And that's my anus shot kill of the week.
You want me to play it?
No, you don't.
Okay. Dick kill, shot of the week.
Anus shot, because he gets him right in the anus.
Yeah, and he pulls out his intestines.
Like when you get him in the dick, like his hammer went, so it disembowels him. It's pretty. So,
yes,
I mean,
Gina Davis
I guess that was probably
dead.
where all I guess that's where all the camel bucks were spent. Because,
on that effect?
Yeah, that effect probably cost him at least like $50. Paper mache, some Hershey syrup.
The only characters left now are Mrs. Johnson, Jenny, Fat Sharon, and William Dafoe.
That's it.
They all decide to check on Gina Davis, in the bathroom. He's dead. So they got to get geared up to defend themselves. And so they hunt around the house briefly, quick montage of that, grabbing weapons and knives and whatever they can find. And the 4 of them go upstairs where they find Sapphire, also dead on the toilet. And Willem Dafoe just turns to Sharon and says, "I fucking hate you, fatso." And Sharon finally loses it.
Yes.
She's tired of people calling her fat. She loses her cool and screams and storms downstairs. "I'm not fat." Opens the front door, and there's evil Santa chef, and he stabs her a few times, and she falls dead on the floor.
But yeah, so this evil cookie Santa kind of sneaks back
out and shuts the door. Yeah.
Man, we sound great.
We're both coughing and sneezing. And,
Is it? Hey, over /you students, are y'all getting some sickness plagues over where y'all are from?
It's the most wonderful time of year for illnesses. I tested negative for COVID.
I took it too. Yeah, I took COVID too.
So it's not COVID.
Yeah,
it's
we
good old cold.
We could get sick before COVID.
Yeah, it's true. There are still other diseases in the world.
They run the rest of the gang runs for their lives. They discover Sharon. They try to make it out the back door as evil Santa chef is following them. William Dafoe suddenly gets gutted in her neck.
Yeah,
and they finally face the killer Santa. It's Jenny, Mrs. Johnson.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
That was it. Yeah. I think I also said Mrs. Johnson and Jenny managed to shut and lock the door to keep evil Santa chef away for a second. And the glaive salesmen are randomly there, the Cyclops and the mullet guy.
Yeah, they were there since
they're
eggnog
commenting on what's happening for some reason. I don't understand. It's totally pointless. Evil Santa chef chases Mrs. Johnson and Jenny outside. Jenny runs away, and the chef hits Mrs. Johnson across the face with the hammer. She goes down on the ground. The chef throws off a mask, and it's actually Ms. Johnson. She's awake
one in the coma.
From her coma.
She faked it.
Mrs. Johnson's sister.
Such compelling intercut
she
dialogue.
Even says, "I faked when that doctor was feeling my tits. I've been faking for a while now."
God, brilliant.
Ready to kill Mrs. Johnson. Mrs. Johnson is begging. Ms. Johnson's ready to kill her sister.
Mrs. Johnson.
You get all the girls. Mrs. Johnson on the ground says, "No, Mama always said you had the tastiest beaver."
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson begged for her life and says, I always wanted to be like you, but I've got this big, ugly penis thing going on down there. Admitting that she is, biologically male with a wang. I don't know. Mrs. Johnson just fucking kills her.
Yeah, that's it.
Ms. Johnson kills her. We fade to black. Come up. The detective walks up.
He finally walks. They roll the dumb credits.
Knocks on the back door. No one answers. He lets himself in. Deck the Halls plays. We roll credits. It's rock music with outtakes.
They thought they had to put outtakes in this movie of them having bloopers and
outtakes.
Messing up their scene.
We also get a short mid-credit scene of a zombie chef eating some potato chips.
Yeah.
So he did actually rise from the grave.
Yeah.
He just didn't come after him.
And who knew zombie like potato chips?
I knew that. That's well documented in all zombie lore.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit. How come?
Fake news.
Oh,
I don't know.
How come Ruffles never got on that campaign? That'd be pretty good. Zombies eating potato chips. Like, hey, if zombies like potato chips, then you will too.
Yeah, that's true.
See, that's why I'm in advertising.
Love you. Yeah, it's great.
Shit like that.
That ad sells
So they roll the dumb credits. Who cares about the thing?
Yeah.
Andy, on a scale of 1 headless Harvey Weinstein to 2 headless Harvey Weinsteins, what would you give this
1 to 2. I give it a 1.5, maybe.
I'd give it 1 and 1 and a 10th.
It's not my
opening
favorite
credits
movie.
are good. So
I just think there's really no good through line here. It's jumping around. It's a movie with ADD. You're all over the place.
But they made 2 before this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, did the first 2 become something of a you talk about underground like
A cult classic?
Because they made 3 of these motherfuckers.
It's wild. I don't know. Somebody somewhere won the lottery and said, I'm going to put my money in making these movies.
I mean, seriously, they had to take some kind of budget. They had to pay I'm sure they had to pay How did they get money to produce this?
I don't know.
How? I swear on my life, it has to be.
Well,
someone that makes a little bit of money in adult entertainment.
It gives me, you're right, it might be.
Like they can produce, they can call them like they're legit films because, they can't go to parties and say, hey, I produce, Kumquat 6, The Diary of Miss Johnson. Like, so then they can actually go to parties and say, yes, I produce grindhouse movies or fucking weird movies. So,
well,
and we're still fucking way under
the
time.
fact that these movies were made gives me hope for the movies that you've written, friend. Because if somebody can make this schlocky shit, then they can make Discarded
I wish I had a friend.
or Murder Cabin or Zombie Shark.
Maybe I should fucking reach out to fucking.
It's all there.
Thanks, man. Maybe I should reach out to some girl, like that girl who fucking sells her farts in a jar and see if she could spare a couple bucks. Wouldn't that be cool if we could say the girl that fucking produced Shark of the
by
Dead, girl who
jar.
farts in jars?
Yeah.
That would be fun. I'll
give you a producer
This
credit.
has been the greatest part of the podcast this whole time right here. So, hey, do you want to do the kill count?
I have the kill count.
Okay, well, this should be fun. Is this the shortest podcast we've done?
One of them. The deli crew girl. When they touched the Chef Death's grave, he reared up out of the grave and pulled down a deli crew girl. We don't know her name, but she was on the crew of the deli chicks. Followed by Dungaree. R.I.P. Dungaree and your massive
Dungaree
melons.
was first.
She was?
Yep.
Oh, well, she's in there. And then Frank, the evil Santa from the deli, got choked out with Christmas lights. Dr. O Master Blaster.
Got blown out.
Ramirez, the good Santa from the bong shop, he got killed. And then the 2 girls who went off to play doctor at a party.
One of them was Crab Cakes.
Crab Cakes, and another girl, they got killed. I don't know. Followed by Sapphire. Took a big poopy on the toilet. And zombie Santa chef came in and killed her. Gina Davis, disemboweled with a hammer. Sharon, Fat Sharon. William Dafoe, and Mrs. Johnson.
How many is that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
That's impressive.
It is impressive.
Maybe one headless Harvey, maybe 1.6 headless Harvey Weinsteins that I'll give this.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Hey, Andy, I'm going to be honest with you, brother.
Please.
I'm kind of feeling weird and hinky about next week's movie. We have to do it, but man, something inside me, like it's my center is getting warm
Your
and
aura.
toasty. My aura does not feel good because of this.
I'm not proud, but we have to do it.
You have to.
We started SlashU with a vision and a dream to bring you the best. To bring you the best in
try
cheesy, campy, sometimes forgotten horror slasher movies. And part of what we try to do here is
Stay committed.
excuse me. Part of what we try to do here is coincide the movies that we're watching with, that time of year. So, in our first season at the U, when Christmas time rolled around, we had to do the classic from 1984, Silent Night, Deadly Night, right? So it just made sense that in year 2 of SlashU, we had to do the sequel. And then it just made sense.
Even though, real quick, even though Andy well said it, we knew that these other movies coming up were going to be shitty.
We knew, but we said, you got to do the whole series at Christmas time. So year 3, last year,
Was it?
we did Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 3.
Yeah, wasn't that. I mean, it wasn't good. But it still kind of continued the story. I looked at
Part 3?
Yeah,
Yeah, barely.
barely. But it did still kind of.
It did.
Because the brain, it was like the Frankenstein.
But
of
it was
the love.
barely.
But
There was
one,
like a psychic connection between Ricky Caldwell and that girl.
Only thing I know about next week's movie is I read Witches.
Episode next week, 132 of SlashU, Silent Night, Deadly Night
I
Part
looked
4.
at it on IMDb, but also I did notice that Clint Howard's character goes by the name Ricky.
Yeah, there are
Hey.
some parallels in that movie.
I can't wait to hear.
1 or 2, maybe 3, and that's it. But Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4, Initiation, is next week.
1990, straight to video.
Straight to video. You know a movie's good when it goes straight to video.
Was it Sledgehammer? Sledgehammer was the first, like one of the first horror slashers.
I think Sledgehammer was like shot on a camcorder. Yeah.
Well,
It's another garbage movie. So
that was definitely the top 3.
and that guy did other good shit though.
He did
Killer Workout, which is one of our better ones.
It was episode 3. It was
I
rad. We
loved
did it
Killer
twice.
Workout.
I did too.
Anyway,
God, I'm sorry to yell.
Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4 for next week.
Because SlashU-letide.
SlashU-letide continues.
SlashU-letide continues.
Yeah.
So, you want to give them their time back, I guess? I mean,
I feel
like
students, we're going to dismiss you a little early this week.
because we talked about Good Burger. We talked
did.
about
Our days. Yeah.
Hopefully finding a girl that farts in jars to help us produce Murder Cabin or fucking Shark of the Dead.
Yep.
But hey, I'm excited.
I'm going to blow my nose and try to shape up before the next episode.
Which we record next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
we can split. We're gonna record it right after this.
Yeah, we are.
So they're gonna
breaking the fourth wall.
Is that really? That is kind of breaking the fourth wall.
It is kind of a fourth wall. We're peek behind the curtain here at the Wizard.
Yeah.
We're gonna record Silent Night, Deadly Night next.
Before we go though, I'm gonna end on this one.
But you're not gonna hear it for a week. Fuck you.
But it gives us time to feel better and get rid of this. Get down with the sickness. Hey, so before we got a little time, I mean, here's a Christmas would you rather.
Sure. I love those.
Andy, would you rather drink 16 ounces of eggnog that has been strained through a filter that was also used to strain a soup made with diarrhea?
You just made that sentence up. Like you didn't know how the sentence was going to end when you started it? Is that one of those things? Like Michael Scott? Sometimes I start a sentence and I have no idea where it's going to go.
All right,
That's what you just did just now?
Would you rather pleasure yourself to a picture of a really sexy picture of a male Santa, or would you rather pleasure yourself on a Macy's Day float?
Like in the parade?
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, one of them's going to get me arrested, and the other one's not. So I guess I'd do the first one.
Damn it, I probably could have come up with a better one.
Yeah.
Would you rather... Okay, Macy's
Christmas
Day...
time, or would you rather?
Would you rather pleasure yourself wearing a Santa outfit, but you're pleasuring yourself, or drink 16 ounces of eggnog that's got some mean guy semen in it?
Is it warm or cold eggnog?
It's warm eggnog.
Ooh, I don't know. No.
And it's got 16 ounces. This mean
size
guy.
of this can. No way.
So you jerk off on the Macy's?
I do the other one.
You jerk off on the... Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey!
Hey, great. Wow. That was amazing.
Class dismissed.
Yeah, we don't have anything else, folks.
Sorry. That made me...
Short and sweet. Tune in.
I hope we still have listeners.
Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4 is on Tubi, so go watch it. And we'll talk to you next week.
Please.
Class dismissed.
54.